We are less than 24 hours away from football Sunday for week number 2. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down my top 20 quarterback and tight end rankings as well as tiers for week number 2 of the 2025 fantasy football season. I'm going to help you guys set your lineup in today's video. The quarterback rankings are going to be 4 point per passing touchdown. The tight end rankings are full PPR. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section. I try to help everyone out down there. So without further ado, let's get to my top 20 quarterback and tight end rankings for week number 2 of the 2025 fantasy football season. We begin with the must-start quarterback ones tier here with my quarterbacks 1 through 2, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. These guys are going to be must-starts every single week. I don't care what the matchup is going to be. There's a reason why you ended up drafting them in the late second or the early third round. That is because they are incredibly reliable week in and week out regardless of the matchup. Now, obviously, in any given game, things could go wrong. They could have down games, but they are guys that are uber consistent, so you're going to trust them weekly, and they both have good matchups this week. Josh Allen is going up against a Jets defense that just got devoured by old man Aaron Rodgers last week, and Lamar Jackson's going up against a Cleveland Browns defense that he has been very solid up against in his career. Now, the matchup for Josh Allen, I love a ton here. Again, if Aaron Rodgers was able to slice and dice his way through that defense, what do you think Josh Allen's going to do? Who threw for damn near 400 passing yards in week number 1, leading that miraculous comeback up against the Ravens. He had 4 total touchdowns, almost 40 fantasy points scored in that game. I feel very confident starting Josh Allen game in and game out, and I don't think I need to spend 10 minutes talking about him, waxing poetically about him, because you all know you need to start him. Lamar Jackson is the exact same, right? I understand that Joe Burrow didn't go out there and put up a big performance up against the Browns defense, but that's really just because Joe Burrow and the Bengals are notoriously slow starters. Lamar Jackson looked very good in that game despite the fact that they lost up against the Buffalo Bills. 3 total touchdowns. He had 29 fantasy points as the quarterback number 4. This matchup, though, could end up being a beatdown, and late on in the game, you don't see as much Lamar Jackson because they're just running the ball. But realistically, if the Cleveland Browns are taking back shots from the Baltimore Ravens offense, then Lamar Jackson probably scored a lot of points in the first half of the first 3 quarters. Next up, we move into the second tier here with Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, the pervert, as well as Kyler Murray. Jalen Hurts coming off of a great game up against that Dallas Cowboys defense. Ultimately, there were 7 other quarterbacks that did better than him, but I thought he looked pretty good in that game. Didn't really have to do much passing the ball, and they're able to control the clock a ton in that game, and Jalen Hurts was able to score 2 total touchdowns. He is going to be a quarterback that just rushes so much game in and game out that even if the Eagles were to lose this game, which I don't project, it would be very hard for me to see Jalen Hurts falling outside the top 12 at the quarterback position. Last time they played up against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts put belt to ass, incredibly reliable quarterback every single week due to his rushing floor and due to the weapons around him as well as the offensive line. So again, just another guy you feel squeaky clean starting in week number 2. Next up, we got Joe Burrow. Now, I understand if you started Joe Burrow and you were like, Nick, you told me that Joe Burrow, because the whole offense played in preseason, things are going to be different. They won't start off the season playing incredibly slow. And guess what? I was wrong. That was not right at all. But guess what? Joe Burrow always bounces back, and in a wet dream matchup up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval at home in Cincinnati, you got to just brush that game under the rug. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay with Joe Burrow. Next up, we got Justin Fields. Now, week 1 may end up looking like a Mickey Mouse performance based on just how we know how Justin Fields is, but last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was relatively consistent. Quarterback 2 last week up against the Steelers. We did just see Lamar Jackson put up a shit ton of points on the Buffalo Bills defense. I understand, Nick, Justin Fields isn't Lamar Jackson. It's like comparing apples to oranges, and that is definitely true, but the Jets offense did play very well last week, so I would think that Justin Fields would be able to keep it up, and due to the amount of times he's going to rush the ball, probably 10 plus times in this game, he does have a very safe floor due to that. Next up, we got Justin Herbert, the pervert, going up against the Las Vegas Raiders in Viva Las Vegas. Quarterback 5 last week in Brazil. Justin Herbert looked incredible. Last season, we saw a lot of the offense just trying to run the ball gently down the stream with J.K. Dobbins and friends, but this season, the game plan seemed to be, at least in week 1, to try to be a much more pass-heavy team. Now, maybe we see them peel back on that in week number 2. They try to run the ball more up against the Raiders on Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can't wait to watch a football game that ends at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? Who isn't absolutely ecstatic about that? But Justin Herbert has all the weapons. He's got the line. And if they're going to throw the ball that much, then Justin Herbert's going to be very reliable week in and week out. Next up, we got Kyler Murray. Now, last week, Kyler Murray was sick. It was the quote-unquote Kyler Murray flu game. Shout out to Michael Jordan, and he played okay, right? I thought he would play better due to the matchup. I said, you know what? Even though he's sick, it is what it is. I'm still to rock with him because I like the spot up against the Saints, and he was fine. He scored 18 fantasy points as the quarterback number 16. He didn't win your week. You probably also didn't lose your week because you played Kyler Murray. This week, he gets the Carolina Panthers defense that easily could have gotten exposed if Trevor Lawrence was, halfway decent. So I think Kyler Murray should be in for a solid performance this week up against a defense that really didn't look great. Again, it was really just the fact that Trevor Lawrence is a fucking blind man out there. Shout out to Ray Charles. Next up, we got the third tier here, which is the lower end quarterback ones with Baker Mayfield, Drake Iceman May, Dickie Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, as well as Bo Nix. Baker Mayfield going up against the Houston Texans. Week 1, sure, he doesn't have a crazy amount of passing yards. He doesn't have a crazy game. 17 of 32 with 167 passing yards. But guess what? Baker Mayfield is Baker, touchdown maker, 3 tugs, no interceptions as the quarterback number 12. The Houston defense is definitely very good, so this isn't the most ideal matchup ever for Baker, and that's why I don't have him in the tier above. But ultimately, when you have Mike Evans, when you have Emeka Egbuka, when you have the weapons that Baker has, and Baker has a little bit of rushing upside as well, you can't really bury him too much, even if the matchup isn't the best. Next up, we got Drake May going up against the Dolphins in Miami. Now, we just saw Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, absolutely pipe the Dolphins down for not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 straight quarters of getting fucked directly in the ass. That is how it felt as a Dolphins fan, and I understand that Drake May didn't look phenomenal in that first performance up against the Raiders. He threw a touchdown. He also had an INT in that game, and he put up 16 fantasy points. Nothing special, nothing terrible, but the Dolphins defense is atrocious. The Dolphins defense is a laughingstock. Chris Grier should go home and cry himself to sleep because he has ruined this franchise. I can't stand Chris Grier, and Drake May is going to make us look foolish, even though the Dolphins are winning by 72 on Sunday. Wink, wink. Next up, we got Mr. Dickie Dak Prescott going up against the Giants. Dak Prescott kind of meh in week number 1 in terms of the fantasy production, but if you actually watch the game, he was looking surgical in that game. CeeDee Lamb dropping a bunch of passes. The guy forgot his hands at home, and he, just left them. They were sitting on the plane, and he was in Philly with no fucking hands, right? Dak Prescott, he's going to figure things out. There's a wet dream spot up against the Giants defense that probably could not stop me. Next up, we got Patrick Mahomes. Now, I fully expect Patrick Mahomes to be kind of mad this year. Xavier Worthy is out. I know people are like, Nick, Xavier Worthy's going to play, you idiot. And then he's out. Obviously, he was never going to play it. If he did play, he was going to play like 5 fucking snaps as a decoy. So Patrick Mahomes has no Worthy, no Rashee Rice. He has Taylor Swift's hubby, Mr. Swift, to throw the ball to. Hollywood Brown, Mr. Corvette, the TikTok sensation Juju. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton. The Eagles defense scares the fuck out of me, but I think Mahomes is going to backdoor his way into a solid finish because of the fact that they're going to be down bad, I think, and they're going to have to throw a ton late on into the game, kind of like how Xavier Worthy had that great game in the Super Bowl, even though the Kansas City Chiefs got absolutely eviscerated. Final guy in this tier is going to be Big Dick Bo Nix going up against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. Now, I don't think the Colts defense is as good as they looked last week up against the Dolphins. I think that's more of an indictment on the fact that the Dolphins offense is completely and utterly limp dick. That was an offense that could not move the ball if you paid them, and we paid Tua Tagovailoa a shit ton of money to do what he did on Sunday. Bo Nix, I get, looked incompetent up against the Tennessee Titans. Probably could have been a game that was a certified beatdown WWE SmackDown versus Raw Hell in the Cell match, but instead it was a closer game where Bo Nix gets a touchdown and 2 picks. Brighter days are ahead, though. And again, I don't think the Indianapolis Colts defense is really all that good, if I'm being honest with you. Next tier here, we got the fourth tier with J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, as well as Trevor Lawrence. Now, I do not want to start Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, but the matchup is too good that I can't truly bury him. And there's going to be people in the comment section, hey, Nick, why did you not talk about Jordan Love or Jaden Daniels? It's because the video comes out on Saturday. They already played. You can't retroactively throw them into your lineup, so I just don't include them. Nick, where's Tucker Kraft? He had a huge game at tight end. He's just not included because he already played. J.J. McCarthy went from looking like no bueno, looking like ha 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 ha, the Minnesota Vikings messed up, maybe they shouldn't have got rid of Mono Man Sam Darnold, to holy fuck, J.J. McCarthy goes crazy. 3 touchdowns, 1 INT up against the Bears in a heroic late game comeback. Now, my biggest worry about J.J. McCarthy is not the matchup. It is 100% that the MO of the Vikings is run the ball gently down the stream, and you're never really going to get, unless the Vikings are getting clobbered, a game where J.J. McCarthy throws the ball 40 plus times like you might see out of a guy like Drake May, right? So that does concern me, but he does have slight rushing upside. We saw in that game. He has amazing weapons around him, and I do think this game could be sneaky high scoring based upon how I thought the corners looked of the Vikings on Monday Night Football. So I feel pretty good about JJ here. Again, there is definitely the risk that he just comes out flat. They run the ball a million times. Maybe they pound the rock down the throat of the Falcons. They don't even have to throw the ball much. Sure, that is a worry, but ultimately the weapons are too good, and JJ looks fine enough to be competent. Michael Penix, the other quarterback in this game, going up against the Vikings defense. Drizzy Drake May is going to be banged up in this one. He's going to play through that injury that he suffered, but ultimately he's not going to be close to 100%. Michael Penix did look good up against the Bucs. He had that crazy Stretch Armstrong, fucking Looney Tunes level reach over the goal line. It was like in Space Jam when, was it Michael Jordan that gets like the crazy arm? That's kind of like what happened with Penix in that late game heroics that ultimately got squandered by the fact that Young Hoku just missed completely on the field goal. But Michael Penix did look pretty good in week number 1. Again, I don't think you can even really make a strong argument for putting any of these guys in the tier above, but if you have to play them, you're fine with it. This is kind of like if one of these guys is your super flex, you're super bricked up, and if they are your quarterback 1, you feel kind of more just meh, but things do get worse the further and further you get on down the rankings. After Michael Penix, we got Caleb Williams going up against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. It was starting to look like Caleb Williams completely shatters everything that we talked about last season. Caleb Williams is that guy. He's that dude. He's him, as the kids would say. And then in the second half, the whole offense crumbled like a cookie. They fell like the Roman Empire. They have fallen, and they could not get up. They were in dire need of a life alert. It was a disaster. It was hilarious. If you're a Bears fan, obviously it wasn't funny at all. To me, it was kind of funny. I thought Caleb did look good, though. I think Ben Johnson will figure things out. This is the Ben Johnson revenge game. I'm not expecting a barn burner here, but there is upside of that occurring. I feel good about Caleb in this range. Again, I don't expect as good of a fantasy finish as last week, where he's the quarterback 9, but where I have him ranked feels relatively fair. Next up, we got Jared Goff, the Goffinator, going up against the Chicago Bears. Now, Jared Goff last week, he just took what the defense gave him. He was 31 of 39 for 225 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Now, based upon what we saw out of the Packers defense up against the Commanders, it kind of might just be that the Packers defense is elite and the Detroit Lions aren't just this complete and utter unmitigated disaster. We shall see, though, in this matchup on Sunday. I don't feel the best about Goff right now, but I also don't think we can truly bury him Undertaker style after just one down performance when we felt pretty good about Jared Goff entering into the season. Before we talk about Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the quarterbacks, then pivot to the tight ends, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends, our partner over at Underdog. If you're brand new to Underdog and sign up using promo code Notorious or by clicking on the link in the video description, you receive a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus funds, as well as you will get a free pick. And if you play $5 in the pick'em, you'll get $50 in bonus funds. If you're unsure of how the pick'em works, it is incredibly simple. All you got to do is pick 2 players, the higher or the lower. And if both of your picks hit, you will get paid. If you do multiple other picks, all the picks have to hit as well, but the payout will be higher. Make sure you guys check that out. Promo code Notorious, or by clicking on the link in the video description. Now, moving to Trevor Lawrence. Now, I was high and mighty on Trevor Lawrence last week. I was banging the drum for T-Law. Wet dream spot up against the Carolina Panthers. Life is but a dream. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be huge. It's going to be fantastic. And Trevor Lawrence shits down his pants. Trevor Lawrence has been a guy for years that I've been throwing jabs at, right? I've been jabbing at, hey, this guy's the first overall pick. Why has he not figured it out? Oh, maybe it's the coaching. Oh, now they've got Liam Cohen. They'll finally figure it out. They've got BTJ. They've got Travis Hunter, the Heisman. They have all of the pieces around him, and yet Trevor Lawrence still looks incompetent. It was like we were sold a fucking box of lies when it comes to Trevor Lawrence. Now, I'm not going to write him off Geno Smith style after just one game, but the question marks are written in fucking bold font on Trevor Lawrence. This matchup up against the Bengals in Cincinnati is amazing. If he does not perform in this matchup, it is time to drop this motherfucker like it's hot, like that Snoop Dogg song. Get him off your team. I'm tired of Trevor Lawrence, but I'll give him one more shot because the matchup, final guys here are going to be Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Chargers, as well as Aaron Rodgers going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I know Mahomes played good up against the Chargers, but Geno Smith isn't Mahomes. I don't expect this to be a barn burner. I don't think Brock Bowers ends up playing, and that's going to be a shot to the metaphorical Achilles of Geno Smith, right? The Achilles heel, not having that safety blanket. So I think Geno will be fine. Like, he's always going to finish probably better than like the quarterback 24. But in this offense that you know inherently wants to run the ball, I don't really think Geno's going to end up being like a league winner for you. Final guy here is going to be Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount, double jet quarterback, number 7. Last week up against the Jets, 22 of 30, 244 yards. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 fucking touchdowns down the throat of the Jets defense. Beautiful chef's kiss, magnifique out of Aaron Rodgers. Can he do it again, though? He said that his back was sore after just one game. I'm not going to make fun of Rodgers. I would be ecstatic as a DK Metcalf fanatic if DK Metcalf played great in a revenge game up against the Seahawks. I like this spot. But again, after just one game, we should not be oogling and ogling over Aaron Rodgers and talking about him as like a must-start quarterback. Again, if you're in a pinch or if you're in a super flex league, yes, I'm happy to start Aaron Rodgers, but in your one quarterback league, I don't think you need to be diving this deep just yet based upon the fact that none of the quarterbacks are hurt yet, so you shouldn't have to rely on a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Now we move to the tight end position with the first tier here. Trey McBride, Sam Laporta, Tyler Warren, as well as Brock Bowers. Now, again, I don't think Brock Bowers is going to play, but we are going to talk about that in just a couple of seconds. Trey McBride, the man who is allergic to the end zone, was the tight end 12 last week. You know he's going to be very reliable. He sees a boatload of touches in an offense that's going to be okay. I don't expect the Cardinals to be the best offense in the NFL, but Kyler and him are always on the same page. You know, Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr., sometimes they're not in the same book. They're not in the same chapter. They are fucking Kyler's reading Green Eggs and Ham, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is reading Percy Jackson, okay? It's just two completely different things. Trey McBride and Kyler, they've got that connection. They got the 4G LTE fiber optic cable. Shout out to Christopher Moltisanti. I like Trey McBride up against the Panthers. He's just very safe. Sam Laporta going up against the Chicago Bears. Solid matchup for Laporta, even though the Detroit Lions offense was very bad in that game. He was 6 of 9 for 79 yards. Tight end number 5, very reliable down the stretch of last season after he was coming into last year hurt and started off pretty slow. Sam Laporta, just a very safe bet weekly. At 3, we got Tyler Warren. Now, a lot of people will be like, Nick, it's just one game up against the Dolphins. Nick, you say that the Dolphins defense sucks donkey cock. They're terrible. So how can you buy in on Tyler Warren? Now he's going up against the Broncos. That's not a great matchup. Well, it's because he is Daniel Jones's safety valve. Daniel Jones is in trouble. Look, there's Tyler Warren. Easy mode. He's going to catch basically every ball you throw his way. 7 of 9 for 76 yards, 1 rush, for 3 rushing yards last week. Again, the matchup isn't this cupcake matchup for Tyler Warren, but ultimately, if he's worried about throwing the ball to Pittman, oh, Pittman's got Surtain on him, or Josh Downs has Surtain on him, who do I throw the ball to? You just take that nice, safe dump off to Tyler Warren. So he might just basically get like a Mickey Mouse top 3 performance just from seeing so many targets, even if he doesn't have 80 yards, 75 yards like he had last week. I could see him just getting a boatload of targets, getting a bunch of catches, and just climbing up there in full PPR and half PPR leagues because of it. Next up, we got Brock Bowers. Again, he's questionable. He's got the Q tag. I don't think he's going to play. He didn't practice on Friday, but it is important to understand that he could miraculously rise up and play in this game. Being played on Monday night. So if you have Bowers and you're like, I really want to play Bowers, but maybe he doesn't play, I don't know what to do. All you do is you just pick up Michael Mayer, and you can just wait until Monday. If you're like me, though, and you're more of the belief that he's not going to play, you would just pick up a different tight end. Next year here, we got Travis Kelce, TJ Hockenson, Mark Andrews, David Njoku, as well as Evan Ingram. Travis Kelce, Mr. Swift, graced the end zone in Brazil last week as the tight end number 8. Not the best matchup up against the Eagles for tight ends, but again, with so many injuries to the wide receivers, Kelce is going to get fed enough to have a decent game. Next up, we got TJ Hockenson up against the Atlanta Falcons. TJ Hockenson was on a milk carton. TJ Hockenson was missing. You could not see him like he was John Cena. 3 receptions on 4 targets for 15 yards, 5 fantasy points at the tight end 31. The Atlanta Falcons defense not very good at all up against the tight end position. This would be a 5-star GTA level matchup for a tight end, so I feel good about the bounce back out of Hawk. Next up, we got Mark Andrews going up against the Cleveland Browns. Mark Andrews was another guy that was invisible, like the woman in Fantastic Four. Mark Andrews was nowhere to be found, just 1 target, even though the Baltimore Ravens offense had their way with the Buffalo Bills defense. Mark Andrews was nowhere to be found last year for the first few games of the season, so maybe it'll just take some time this year. But again, if you drafted Andrews in the first 8 rounds, you're not cutting bait after just 1 game. I'm not giving up yet. Next up, we got David Njoku going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Similar scenario, except for Mark Andrews saw 1 target and Njoku saw 6. Fannin outscored him, kind of feels very eerily similar to Andrews and Likely last year, where Likely comes out the gate hot, and then after that, he kind of falls off, and then Andrews has that rise, right? I think we're going to see something similar here, though both of these guys could be very useful week in and week out because of how many 2 tight end sets they run on a game-in, game-out basis. Njoku's all-reliable for Joe Flacco, so after just 1 down game as the tight end 24 with 7 fantasy points in full PPR, I know the matchup isn't the best against the Ravens, but they are going to be down. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton. And Njoku, again, that game against the Bengals was very close. I thought it was going to be a game where the Bengals just blew their back out, wasn't even close. This game, I think they're going to have to be targeting Njoku a lot more. At number 10, we got Evan Ingram going up against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. Good to go on Sunday with the calf injury. He didn't play the full game last week, and he scores 5 fantasy points up against the Titans. People are like, Nick, do I drop Evan Ingram? Why? Sometimes I just don't really understand why you would cut bait on like Mark Andrews or David Njoku or Evan Ingram after 1 down game, right? You wouldn't do the same thing with Jamar. You wouldn't be like, oh, Jamar Chase, let me just fucking cut him after 1 game as the wide receiver 75. You wouldn't do that. So why are you going to cut a tight end that has tight end 1 upside after 1 game? The Colts matchup is good. It's just the Dolphins could not exploit it because Tua Tagovailoa is a fucking idiot. I don't know what was going on in that game. Mike McDaniel should be fired. I don't know what is wrong with him, but I think Evan Ingram figures it out this week and has a better performance. I believe he is still the clear number 2 target on this team. Moving on into the 3rd tier, Jake Ferguson, Fergalicious, as well as Kyle Pitts and Hunter Henry. Jake Ferguson doesn't have the best week, number 1. I don't like this matchup that much up against the Giants, but Ferguson's going to be getting 6+ targets basically every single week. And in a game where they might look to make it rain, they might look like to make the Giants pay for what happened in week number 1, Ferguson could certainly find the end zone. Next up is Kyle Pitts. Now, I know trusting Kyle Pitts is like trusting your girlfriend who cheated on her ex-boyfriend with you not to cheat on you, right? That probably ain't gonna go the correct way. It's like when you bring Cardi B back to the hotel room and you expect her not to steal your wallet when she was a stripper. So obviously, He did steal a couple people's wallets. Kyle Pitts going up against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Tight end 7 in week number 1. I think we're going to be getting a more reliable version of Pitts. It seems like him and Penix are on the same wavelength, but after just one game, I can't fully, truly be like, wow, Kyle Pitts is so amazing, because again, it was just one game. Hunter Henry is the quintessential, my tight end is hurt, holy fuck, or my tight end's on bye, oh no, what do I do? Then you play Hunter Henry, and he's like the tight end 12 through 15. Probably not going to win your week up against the Dolphins, but will probably score around 8 to 12 points, and you'll be fine with it. Next up, we move on into the next tier here with Juwan Johnson, Brenton Strange, as well as Dalton Kincaid. Juwan Johnson, tight end number 1, the number 1 tight end in all of Kazakhstan in week number 1, going up against the Arizona Cardinals, 8 of 11 for 76 yards as the tight end number 1. This week, the 49ers matchup is pretty good. I don't want to get too high and mighty on Juwan Johnson as well, because it's just one game, but if Spencer Rattler truly trusts him, and if he's going to feed him that many times, even if the New Orleans Saints offense is terrible, bottom of the barrel, trash, then Juwan Johnson could still have good games, even so, because he's getting so many looks. Next up, we got Brenton Strange going up against the Bengals. I love this matchup, 4 for 4, like he was in Wendy's in week 1 up against the Panthers for 59 yards. But again, I can't trust him too much, can't bang the drum too much. Why? Because I don't trust Mr. Trevor Lawrence. Next up is Dalton Kincaid, scored a touchdown last week. He is in a tight end by committee of destruction for fantasy football. Him, Kincaid, and the rookie whose name is escaping my mind, they're all going to play a decent amount of snaps. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be some games where you reach the apex of the mountain, chilling on the top of the mountain, Kilimanjaro, like last week is the tight end 4, and then there's going to be other games where he's iced out. He's not getting many targets. He's not in the game much, and he's like the tight end 27. Last week we got the good. This week we may get the bad. But again, once you get down this far, I would just rank him a little bit higher, because he's on a team that's going to score a lot of points. And if he scores a touchdown, he's going to have a good game. Again, I don't feel super safe about it. Next up, we got tier 5, John New, as well as Harold Fannin. 5 of 6 for 15 yards and a touchdown. If we could just figure out Arthur Smith, hey, you throw the ball to him 5 times, maybe get more than 15 yards. If he could just maybe get 40 yards, we'd feel a lot better. I know Arthur Smith loves Jonnu Smith, but they're going to use Pat Freiermuth a ton, and that's just going to frustrate you. Harold Fannin going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Looked very good in week 1, 7 of 9 for 63 yards, 1 rush for 3 yards as the tight end number 6. They want to use him a ton. See what happens. But again, this could just be Mark Andrews and Likely of last year, where, it's time to play Likely. You play Likely, and then he doesn't do anything, right? The same case could be here with Fannin. Final tier here, Chig Okonkwo, Colston Loveland, Cade Otton, Dalton Schultz, as well as Jatavion Colonel Sanders. Once Cam Ward figures things out, I think Chig definitely has some solid upside, just because of how devoid of weapons this offense is. But as of right now, these are break glass in case of emergency starts. Colston Loveland looked good, but again, Colt Kmet's going to get a lot of usage. That's worrisome. Then we got Cade Otton. Great offense. 3 targets, 0 receptions last week. Again, you don't really want to be starting these guys. Dalton Schultz. He used to be the, oh my gosh, my guy's on bye week. Oh my gosh, my guy's hurt. Let me play Dalton Schultz. Now it's, oh my gosh, my tight end 1 is hurt, and every single team on the waivers, everyone in my league is 2 tight ends, so now I have to start fucking Dalton Schultz. Final guy, Jatavion Colonel Sanders. If Bryce Young could figure it out, I think he'll be good. But based on what we saw week number 1, you shouldn't believe that. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you guys uppercut that subscribe button like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter or X, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. Check out Underdog, link in the video description. Love you a long time. Hope you have a great one. And as always, good boy!